Welcome to the podcast, Organized Mayhem. We're coming to you from 110 South 11th Street, which is the home of Maria and the Rap Shack. And we are here to talk to you about all things Philadelphia restaurant business and everything in between. I'm Cammie, here with my brother Scott and my friend John Lupa. There we go. I thought you 3-2-1'd me.
I know, but I couldn't click it soon enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Organized Mayhem. I am Cammie. I am here today with a very special guest, but before we get to announce our special guest, I have my brother, Scott.
Hi, everybody.
And John Lupa. Pop in, John Lupa. He's off to the side a little bit. And we are at, Scott, let it roll.
We are at 110 South 11th Street at Maria, and we're next door to 112 South 11th Street at the Rap Shack.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay.
I am in the basement. I have been banished to the basement of Morea, which is quite lovely. It doesn't look lovely, but it really is fine. I'm doing fine. It was absolutely pouring outside when I came in, so it's nice to be dry, so I don't really care. And actually, Lupa made me an outstanding cup of coffee, I have to say. And I am a coffee snob and a half, and it's excellent. So I'm going to introduce our very special guest, who I know extremely well. A lot of times when we have a guest, I don't know them at all before I start, but I would know this guest very well. We've been working together for almost 4 years, and we work on helping people in relationships. We have a survey that, boys, you have taken that can help find how you are motivated to make decisions in a relationship. This was not my brainchild, but the brainchild of our very special guest, and that would be Linda Sommer. Welcome, Linda.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. You also braved the weather. This is your first time at the restaurant. And the first time with the boys. I mean, you know my brother. You met my brother before. We're all like family.
But I've met them watching some of their podcasts.
Very, very good. So welcome. And you have been doing what I've only been doing for 4 years. You've been doing it for much longer. And the way that you came into this business is you are a coach, right?
Yes,
Executive coaching. And a lot of the skills that you learned helping people in executive coaching, you've always had, as far as I, this passion that it works in executive coaching in businesses, but it could really help people in relationships. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, why do you think that we are able to translate so easily what you were able to do in business to personal relationships?
Okay. Well, as you know, it deals with the survey shows what motivates you. What basically is motivating to do, and then what things are like not so important. So it's not that the other things aren't motivating, it's just they may not be relevant. So in doing it in business, you're doing it to help people find a position that fits them so they can thrive. In relationships, you want to find a partner or someone you could be with so you could thrive. So basically, it's changing nouns and verbs and context, but the patterns are all the same. We all communicate using words. And so in doing this over the years, I really always felt it'd be fabulous for relationships in general. And actually nowadays, as I think you already know, people are doing relationships in businesses because people have been home for so long and now they're back at work. They're all on their phones, they're all texting each other, and they're bringing in communication experts to help people learn to talk to each other.
For sure. So, it's definitely a lost art. Definitely a lost art. And I think like when I was single, in my 20s, we would meet people in bars. Like there was no apps, right? So we would meet people in bars or you'd get set up. And now we are in a very sexy bar in the flesh. You are at Maria, which is a hotspot for singles. Scott, talk to me a little bit.
I'm laughing because I feel like it was much easier back in the day.
Yeah.
Where I could hide if I was crazy or something like that. I feel like now with all these questionnaires and everything like that, it's very hard to like hide the little ins and outs of who you are.
I think that you can also hide behind the truth, right? Because like if you're creating a profile for yourself, there's a lot of people who are not telling the truth. So like, for example, when a guy says on his dating profile, I'm just saying this, and I see a lot of dating profiles, right? If a guy says on his dating profile, I'm 5'9", it's usually give him like an inch. He's usually an inch or two shorter. So you're also like hiding sometimes from the truth. So, but again, like Scott, when you see it live. Lupa, I want to see your little head too. Pop out, pop in, pop out.
Yes, I'm here.
So, Lupa, like out of your
Come on.
Yes,
You
yeah,
can come
I'll sit in here. Yeah.
right.
guys, like, Linda and I, Linda is really also an expert of like body language and things like that, more than I am an expert. But you're at a bar where you're seeing people pick up other people or trying to meet other people. Alcohol certainly helps, but like, do you see a lot of it? Like, do you see and sometimes or close your eyes and be like, oh my God, that's going to work? Or sometimes that person has game. Like, what do you guys see in the action of dating at a bar?
I think lighting is the key.
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
Can I go back to one thing?
Sure.
When you said you're used to hiding, right? And that you miss that. That's one of the reasons why having these type of skills are so useful. Because when you hide and you want to meet people, they're not meeting you.
Yep.
They're meeting whoever you are faking to be. And usually it's because people don't know what to do or how to do it. Most people who go and they want to meet, they already want to. So if you really want to, what do you have to do? And most people really are really awful when it comes to asking questions, because they usually ask a question that's like, do you like it here? Well, the answer is
Sure.
Love it.
Yeah,
and then they don't know where to go.
Right.
And so one of the things, there's a few things, and we could just touch upon just a little bit if that's okay.
Sure, please. I think that's exactly what people want to know is like, what is the question that's going to go somewhere?
Jump into politics
The main, the main thing is, I guess, the very first thing. You want to meet somebody, you want to have a good time. You have to be curious. In the sense of, and what curious is, it's how you say what you say. So someone will say, what made you come here? And someone else will say, oh, what brought you here? Yeah. Or what made you come here? Where your curiosity and your voice makes them start to spill their guts. Okay? So the two things that are, I think, really imperative, and I have other things that we could talk about, body language stuff, but not right this second. So you go to a place, and I was thinking about it when I was sitting here waiting, and I was thinking, what would I say? And I might say to someone, hi, my name is Linda. It's my first time here. What brought you here? And now you're already going to talk. So what that does for me, it gives me a moment that I get to breathe. I don't have to say a thing. They're going to be talking, and then they're going to say something, and I might just add to it and say, what makes you say that?
Right.
And then they're going to talk some more. And then maybe they'll ask me a question, and probably if they're not very experienced, it'll be a yes, no. And I'll just say, can you elaborate a little bit? And then they start talking again. So the more you know how to ask questions with curiosity, because listen to the difference. Okay, gosh, I was walking and I saw it, so I thought I'd come in. I was walking and I saw it, so I thought I'd walk in. I was just really curious of what is this place? Like when you brought me here, I started looking around and I was going like, what a great intimate place. You should have a lot of singles here. You should be able to sponsor so many things. You have this long bar, and I have these neighbors that are bringing me to bars. I really normally don't go. And it has this long bar, so the people that want to kind of drink, be alone, or have a quiet corner, they really have it. And all of these tables, they're far enough apart from each other so you could really engage in conversation. Colors are really pretty, people really nice, the bar is really nicely stocked. So this is like a perfect place to come and begin to kind of find out, how would it be to talk to people? What are the things? What do you have in your head? Are you going just to drink? Are you going to drink and hope somebody very nice will pick you up? Are you, do you want to meet somebody to find out like what makes them tick? In my mind, I'm always thinking about what makes that person tick. Most people are like this. Okay, I want to be good. I hope I come across smart. I really wore my nice shirt today, my nice t-shirt, and I'm really hoping they're going to like me. All right, I'm really nervous to come, but Cammie said I should go, and it's our bar. We should really show up, and so it's all about who. All of those questions, yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want to meet somebody, it needs to be all about them, not about you. She wants to get in. She heard this podcast.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that when you go there, forget about yourself. Now, we could go over, and I don't know if we'll cover it today, a little bit about body language. Okay, I'll use you as a quickie example. Is this okay, Cami? Or do you have another question?
No, this is, well,
Okay.
the only thing I just wanted to interrupt for
Let's
1
just
second.
say that- I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
I
you.
just wanted to interrupt for 1 second because one of the things that you said that I don't want to get lost is that the way that you ask the question doesn't make you vulnerable, right? It just makes you sound curious. So I think a lot of people are worried about being shot down. And the way that you frame the question is more engaging and it doesn't seem like you're putting yourself out there. It just seems like you're being friendly, which I really
Yes.
like.
You're just finding out about them. Like, okay, very often someone says something and you don't hear your tone of voice. And when they answer you, you're sitting there going, what? Why did they talk to me that way? It's like as if I said something and it was wrong. So one of the things that when someone has an answer that doesn't match what was in my head at all, I usually go like, oh, what makes you say that? And then I'm finding out, well, what do you mean by that? And number one, they get to talk. And number two, I get to find out they're in a completely different perspective than I am.
You know, it's funny. I'm sorry to interrupt, but when I am listening to you talk about it's a give and take on a date, and you're asking questions, you're getting answers and stuff like that. One of the things that I find funny is like when I watch movies and stuff like that. I was on a date and the person didn't stop talking, didn't want to know anything about
You
me.
see that in shows all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
I actually say that to him all the time. Sometimes I feel like I don't need to be here because he talks and then answers his own questions, and I'm like not here. So. But with your help, I think he could be a.
You'd be
great.
magical.
He'll be magical.
Somebody wonderful for this wonderful man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Linda, I think that I like that. So like if you're doing the talking, like when should you know in your head, like when do I land the plane? Like when do I stop and give somebody else the chance?
And so part of it is ask a question. They're going to give you information, and very often they'll say, "That's a really interesting profession. What got you into that?" And then if the person can engage, they're going to ask you questions back. And if you don't necessarily understand what they're talking about, I might say, can you give me an example? But not like, well, I need an example. It's like, can you give me an example? And to have curiosity in your voice. I mean, we didn't talk about moving on to body a little bit, but one of the things that's really important when you're meeting people is you want to be congruent. And what that means is, okay, for example, no, really, go ahead, go to the ball game. Have a nice time. Wives say that very often when their men want to go to a sports game. And so if a man really wants to go, he uses the words, go, I heard you say I could go, have a nice time. If he's sensitive to sound, he's going to hear, don't you dare, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble, right? So depending upon, and if you really, really wanted to go, you're going to go with what she said and not the meaning that lay behind it. So there's no win-lose because you're not looking to lose. You're looking to know somebody. But what most people do, I have a friend whose wife recently died, and I laughed because he called me up and he wanted to do things for, going on a date. He went online. It's the first time. He was married for a long time. And I was laughing because I said, because he did the first date by himself, I said, you didn't talk about it, did you? And he goes, well, the whole time. So it was like, all he talked about was his ex, well, his late wife. And just talk.
Why do men fall in that? I don't.
Yeah. You know why? It's because
it's easy for me to do too, which is weird.
Well, because it's something you know.
It's just like it just comes out.
Yes, but it's what you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if someone's saying have a conversation and you're not used to it because they're not asking you interesting questions.
Right.
Like if I said to you, well, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that is? What do you think makes people just kind of talk about their past relationships, which is a killer? Or the thing where it's like, hi, and I've been around a while, I'm ready to settle down. And they talk about it and all kinds of things, make somebody scared and go away because you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know if they just want to meet somebody, if they want a conversation. You don't have any clue. So what do you think would be like helpful in, what would make you, if you were single, let's say you're with your wife, what made
He's
you?
the worst one.
What made you?
He's the worst one. He's off.
What made you choose her?
Well, we were in college, so we met very young. She's smart, she's pretty, and we just got along and had a lot of things in common. And yeah, well, I got to answer it right. But we're also, when we met, I was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. So what I was thinking at that time is a lot different than I am now. I got really lucky. I don't know if she got lucky, but I got lucky. But when you were talking, I was thinking about that too. There's so many different apps. I ask you all the time. Like there's some apps that it's like a one night stand app. Then there's a relationship app, and I think my sister-in-law, they met, and my brother-in-law, they met on an app. So it's like there's all these different ones that like some of them are just for like one night stands or just like casual. Others are to meet someone that you're gonna be with. So it's really trying to figure it out. For me personally, I was at Penn State my sophomore year. I was just looking to have a little fun. So
Hey, that's my sister you're talking about.
I know. Hey, look, you never know when love can get you in the ass.
Yep.
What do you think is what stops you from finding someone you want to be with?
Well, I was just listening to what you were talking. You know what I think I have this problem of? I get nervous.
You
and
got a lot of problems.
I get too jokey. Like I'm joking around too much, and they don't take it
Wait, I
serious.
can't hear you that well.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was saying, I just listening to Linda. I think that I get like into a nervous state where I just start making too many jokes or being too like goofy, and I think it turns the person off.
That's a perfect example of you being worried about yourself,
Right.
and not looking at the other
Right.
person.
No,
Because chances are they're also really nervous.
Yeah.
So if you take over by being silly, it's because number one, you're missing tools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't look that anybody has anything wrong with them. Like you're missing tools. If I showed you how to pace somebody,
yeah.
And if we talk about I'm going to change the context for 1 second.
Okay.
Like let's say for you're happily married, but you own this place. Do you know how to have really comfortable conversations to make your patrons feel really comfortable and want to come back? Or are you serious, or do you go over and make them feel like they're important? And same goes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really, that's an interesting question. It's really a case by case basis. A lot of people, and I'm one of those people who, if I'm at a restaurant, I don't really need the owner to come up to me. I go up to every table, especially on a Friday, Saturday
We talk
night.
about this all the time. We hate it.
Yeah, like I don't need the owner to come. Right. But a lot of people, especially on Friday and Saturday night, they really appreciate the owner coming over, asking questions, and being very personable, which I'm fine with. So I don't dislike doing any part of that, but you can tell right away. So if I look like I'm annoying a customer, then I kind of like scale back. I'm not kind of being personable. Well, let me know if there's anything I can do. I'm the owner, and I just walk away. But then there's other ones. How'd you come up with the name Maria? How'd you do this? How'd you do this? What kind of sauce did you do? Then I know they want to be more personable. They want someone to lead them a little bit more. So then I talk about the name. I talk about a little bit of everything. So it's really, I don't have one avenue of how I am. It's
a variety.
Again, it's like it's like dating, but I'm dating my customers. I guess that sounds kind of weird.
Okay.
Well, you're establishing a connection.
A connection. There we go. That sounds a little better than what I just said.
Well, in part also, you have to decide why are you doing it. Like the frame that you gave, it's like some people really like to have the owner come over, so I come. But I am coming from, again, that curiosity spot where in my head, I'm coming over because I get curious. How do you know when you're going to meet somebody who's going to be perfect for him, who happens to be at the bar, right? So when you're curious.
That's a complicated question.
So part is when you're going around, if it's just a matter of like, how are you doing? But you're looking at them. So many owners that come by, they can't wait to go to the next table because they just want to do that. That's just part of the routine, right. Which is different. You're not going to get caught in it. It's like, hi, how's it going for you today?
Yep.
So glad you're here. And then you get to go on the next person, but you look them in the eye. Okay, some of the things, I'd love to do some things with you to show you. And I know that I'm hogging a little bit here. So I want to
this one's about you.
Okay. So let's just say I want to show you a couple of things in body language. Okay, I'm used to being a business corporate exec. You could do whatever.
No, I don't know if that means that this is full.
Yeah, so it said so. So it's okay. It's my first time doing this. So
you're doing great.
I'm very comfortable. Yeah. It's because Cammie set the stage. She's wonderful to work with. She's just great.
I have to cut you off for a second. You guys are both very fashionable. I don't know what that means. Cammie, I always think that you're very fashionable, and Linda walked in today. I can see that you guys can be work together because I don't know. There's
well, we're going to give a plug then because a lot of our family is from Philadelphia, support local businesses. So if you want to support local businesses, we both are big fans of Edith's. It's a clothing store. It's on Bustleton Avenue. Google it. I don't know the address, but it's owned by two fabulous twins, Kim and Stacy, and I highly recommend it. So that is our plug-free advertisement for the day.
Okay, but back to this thing.
I think part is which context. Like I'm on a board of visitors of a couple of different places. Each one is a different style. I'm not used to being informal. I'm used to top to bottom, Neiman Marcus old clothes, you know, the way that it used to be. And now I'm an Edith fan. And what happens is it was like changing. I'm used to being straight business. Now it's like just Linda hanging and talking. And people change, people shift. Most people don't like to change. They are okay about shifting. So think about that. Okay? They do not mind shifting. For people change with the way the world is. Change doesn't mean a good thing. Okay? It's like if you had an older person, change could be, oh my gosh, I have to move. My health isn't good. And now they want one more thing to change. They get afraid. So I've used these skills with airlines. I've used these skills with pharmaceuticals, you know, the higher executives. I use these in every day. I've used them for dating. I use it to connect people. So I want to point out one thing from a body language kind of thing. Okay, so Linda's going to a bar first time. She's nervous as all hell, pretty much. Now, I may not do the talking like you, but I may sit like this.
You're going to tell me I have horrible posture.
No, it has nothing to do with posture. But did you see how they changed that second that I did? When we get into rapport skills another time with Cammie, we're going to show you how when you have rapport, people will shift with you.
Yeah.
So just like you did as soon as I did, and you changed right away, which is great because we have rapport. That happens whether I'm telling you or not. The thing that these tools can show you is what you think is invisible. Just like cell phone, you don't see the waves, but somehow I can talk to my son in Vietnam.
Right.
Crazy. It's the same thing with this. You're not aware. So let's just say Linda went in like this, and I'm trying to be friendly. You go in your relaxed posture again. You're relaxed, you're hanging. Go back into your relaxed posture. Well,
That's not exactly how.
First of all, that's like half sleeping, Scott.
So that's relaxed.
Yeah.
So one of the first things, I'm going in, and I really want to meet people because I've been alone for a long time. So I'm sitting like this because I want them to know I'm really serious about this dating thing, and I want to meet really interesting, intellectual or fun people. Now, would you want to like say, oh, let me go meet Linda. She looks so easy to talk to.
Tight, a little tight
no.
to
Oh, no.
A little tight to
No. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I came in and I looked at how you were sitting, right? And, you know, assuming you're not drunk from having all the good drinks here, you know, we lock you up so you don't go out. So let's just say you're sitting here and you look relaxed. Tell me if I came in and I was sitting more like this, would you be more apt to say hi?
It's a confusing
opposed
question
to-
to me because now I'm going, maybe she's too relaxed.
Yeah.
We're not
Now you're
judging.
too
See,
relaxed.
now you're judging.
Yes.
Okay? One of the most important things that I do when I walk in a room is I look to see how are the people sitting. If we're in a bar, right? How are they sitting? So you have one thing where people are sitting like this, right? And then you have another thing where some people could be like this.
Yep.
And you have another thing where people are just kind of comfortable, right? All right. So you're being comfortable and you look comfortable. So I'm going to be similar to your postures. Now, if they could see the whole screen, I wouldn't match you that way, okay? Because I could get rapport, but not for what I want. He's sitting with his legs like this.
Right. That's too much rapport.
Okay, well, you know, maybe we're not so meant to be. But in this moment, the only thing I'm saying is what gets you out of thinking about yourself is noticing the other person. It's so freeing.
Yeah.
Like I've used this with techies. I use this with IT people. I use this with the techie lawyer who only works with numbers, the people that don't know really how to be social. You don't have to know how to be social, but you have to have the tools so you know how to be with someone who's different than you. So let's just say that I go in and I see you kind of relaxed. You know, I'm not going to be too relaxed, but what you said was, oh, you look too relaxed. So you already made a judgment.
Right.
What are the things you want to do?
Oh, you have not heard anything yet. He judges everybody.
Yeah, how so?
Very judgmental.
How so?
I'm very
Wait a
particular.
minute. How have you judged me?
No,
so
no.
No, you can do it.
Oh, he already said you're a great dresser. He already said you're a
God,
great
he is.
dresser.
Women have compared me to like Larry David, judgmental.
Okay, well, I enjoy him.
Yes.
You know, but he's always like a loser winner
Right.
or a winning loser. I'm not
Yes.
sure which.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you want to notice what's going on around you. Because if you're afraid for yourself, you walk in thinking everybody's looking at you. Nobody cares about you yet because they're all caring about themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great point, Linda. Great
So
point.
one of the things that we talked about, which we could do it easier, I'll give you just a few little things because I don't want to overdo it because Cammie and I are hopeful to do like a series maybe at some point. So when I ask to be curious and the tone of voice that you think about, I'm going to give you a simple sentence, okay? I want you to tell me how you would say, oh, I wish I had a pen. Okay, what do you want? Okay, take those words and say it. If you were asking someone, how would you say that sentence?
What would you like?
Using my words. Same
Man,
thing. Okay,
I can do it because
I would change it.
You could use, no,
Okay.
I'm asking about intonation. So let's say I said, here are the words. What would you like? Using your word. How might you say that to someone?
What would you like?
Oh, that sounded very nice. That was curiosity in your
That
voice.
was
You're already teaching.
That's really
Right.
nice. Did you hear that? Very nice.
I know, but I
Very
don't
nice.
really do it like.
I'm going to go jokey and I can't stop smiling. What would you like?
Okay, that's fine too, because you're here and you're offering a drink, right?
I
So,
like mine better.
You're
Depending
welcome.
upon where somebody is in their own space, right? Where somebody might be in their own space, I could say, and depending on your tone, I can say, what would you like? Like, what would you like? What would you like? What would you like? What would you like? Okay, and each one, the direction, it's going to go in a different direction. And it happened to me once when my son was younger, and he said, I'm going to the store with my friends. I said, sure. Silly me, we know questions is the thing that makes you free. I didn't ask him what store. I live in Pennsylvania. He was young. He took a train to New York. I could have said, who are you going with? And then I'd know whether they were good guys or bad guys or people that we knew. I could have said, what are you going for? So I think the art of asking questions for good communication has to do with style, has to do with pace. Do you know what pace is?
How you do like
It's your rhythm, right?
Yeah.
But you'll find your rhythm, and another time we'll be able to show you how you can take someone's rhythm who speaks really fast, but you kind of like them, but you'll be asleep by the time they're done, or the person who speaks so slowly.
So it's funny. I'm actually going to use this not for dating, because I'm going to use this with my staff.
See,
I'm gonna
that's
talk to them
exactly right.
in a different level to them.
So,
Oh, I'm still waiting for this one.
So I think that there's so much wisdom to gain from Linda. Right now is a good point to wrap up, because we are going to be planning a singles event at Maria. To be determined when. We'll keep you posted. But Linda, I hope you come back, because you just gave a tiny little bit of some of your wisdom for
I
dating.
love this. by the
I
way.
love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I would say this. I would say, just to reiterate what we learned today, was curiosity in your voice, posture, right? Asking the right questions. Linda, you knocked it out of the park. People paid Linda a lot of money for these tips. You guys are getting it for free today on Organized Mayhem. This is just, Linda, will you please come back?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
And
So-
I hope more and more people come here, because it's absolutely a perfect setting to meet people.
Agreed. And Linda, you're going to help them. You're going to help them find their person at the bar with the perfect lighting and the perfect music. It's a wrap for us today. We are ending at Morea. What's the address, guys?
110 and 112 South 11th Street.
All right, the pickup place in Philadelphia. Linda, thank you so much. And you can find more information about Linda Sommer and what we do at Road2You.com. That's a wrap, guys.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us today for Organized Mayhem Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, X, our website, rapshackpa.com, and wayofphilly.com for updates. Once again, welcome to the Mayhem.